Hi, good evening, or certainly evening here. Still Christmas Day, 25th December 2023, and still reporting from Auckland, New Zealand. My name Hirsch Saha. So, this talk video is actually one which I think when I say it in words, or when I put it into words, it might sound very obvious, but I think it's actually not so obvious in everyday life. And that is how a lot of resource depletion, from consumption, a lot of resource depletion and pollution is actually from unnecessary wastage and inefficiencies. Often we're told that there are, too many people on the planet, which causes, the resource depletion, the over resource depletion and over pollution, just from there being too many people on Earth. But that is not actually the complete cause. As I speak now in December 2023, the world population is approximately 8.2 billion. And obviously, that's a huge, huge number, more than many of us could even imagine. It's not solely because of that we have this problem, of resource depletion and pollution. I remember hearing that, for example, if everyone in the world consumed as much as the average American, we would need 5 Earths to sustain us, which of course we do not have, which we don't even have close to. Even if you colonize the moon and Mars, you'll still not have close to 5 Earths, not even half of it. So, we don't have that. But then again, I would suspect that if everyone in the world consumed as much as the average African, I would say we could probably just make do with just 2 or 3 continents and leave the other 4 or 5 remaining continents to nature. I remember hearing that the America or the United States, even though it's only 5% of the world's population, as I speak, approximately 330 million, even though it's only 5% of the world's population, they account for approximately 25% of the pollution output and approximately 30% of resource consumption, if I'm correct. Even if I'm incorrect in those numbers, it's probably thereabouts, not too far away from those numbers. So that's a lot, 25% of pollution output and about 30% of resource consumption if you're only 5% of the world's population. So it's actually very interesting. While, of course, population does ultimately affect resource consumption or resource depletion and pollution, it is not the sole reason for when it becomes too much or when it is too high. A lot of, if you look at it, a lot of resource depletion and pollution is actually caused, like I said towards the beginning of the video, a lot of it is actually caused by unnecessary wastage and inefficiencies. And I think this is where things really need to be put into perspective. For example, say, especially in the Western world, if you go to a restaurant and say you ask the waiter or the staff for a tissue, and they give you a stack of literally 10 tissues. You only need one, but they give you a stack of 10, and you will probably think, oh wow, that's great customer service. But look at it this way: to give you 10 tissues when you only need one, that means that they cut down 10 times more trees to produce those 10 tissues. There's 10 times more waste than there needs to be. And of course, as we know, all these things add up, traveling, in your car halfway across the city just to pick up one small thing, you know, um, again, commuting every single day, there and back to and from work 5 days a week when ultimately you could probably work from home, or at least work from home, say 2 or 3 days a week, using technology, the internet, phones, telecommunications. Again, that's an unnecessary wastage and inefficiency. When there are more people commuting, there's more traffic. And of course, when there's more traffic, there are more cars just sitting idle. And of course, again, more pollution. Another way you can argue it is that more people should use mass transport, public transport, even if they do want to commute to work 5 days a week. And that's another argument altogether. So really, when you look at it, especially in the Western world, a lot of resource depletion and pollution output occurs from unnecessary wastage and inefficiency, which I think is very sad because that is something which I think we can easily, curb. We really can through the introduction of new technologies. As well as changes in behavior, just a bit of discipline, like when you're not in the room or not in a certain room, you turn those lights off, even if you're just away from a short period of time. Don't throw that can into the rubbish, throw it into the recycling. Even if you made a mistake, there's nothing wrong with picking it out of the rubbish and putting it into the recycling. Just wash your hands afterwards if you really want to. With washing hands, run the water, not on the, at full volume, but run it on a relatively low volume. You can see where I'm going with this. So it is quite sad. I think, ultimately, there goes my landlord's dog again. Sorry about that. But yeah, ultimately, a lot of resource depletion and over pollution really comes from unnecessary wastage and inefficiencies. So people just thought further and were just more efficient with what they did, and more practical, and really reduced wastage to as close to zero as possible, and reduced inefficiencies to as close to zero as possible. And if we took this very, very seriously, then it would help immensely, especially in the Western world, especially by the small proportion of people that use a lot, that consume a lot. So it really makes you think it's not just the number of people on Earth, it's not just you as a human being wanting to live your life, wanting to have a job, have a house, have a family, enjoy, travel a bit. There's really nothing wrong with that. It's not really that, it is this unnecessary, wastage and inefficiency, which I really think we need to curb. And as individuals, I think is a relatively easy way to, if you like, do your part for the planet, to make a difference and to not feel guilty just by being a human being that wants to work and travel and have a home and have a family. Think that, okay, I can have those things, but in exchange for those things, I'm going to absolutely minimize my wastage, all wastages and inefficiencies when it comes to resource depletion and pollution output. And on top of that, I'm going to, be green, recycle as much as I can, eat less meat, drive the car less, or perhaps get a hybrid car or use public transport, all those sorts of things. So yeah, it's really one that makes you think, and I think it's one thing we can all take on board. Really, I'll say it again. I probably said way too much already in this video, and I notice it's getting probably too long. Should learn to be more practical. But yeah, absolutely minimize all wastages and inefficiencies as much as possible. And when you don't need to do a certain thing like driving a car to get somewhere or to achieve something, don't. Be more practical. Be more practical, especially in an environmental perspective. It may seem very small, like turning the light off in a room for just 2 minutes while you leave it. Say something like leaving your bedroom to go to the bathroom. It might seem very small, but again, all these things at the end of the day. At the end of the day, really add up. It's just like saying, "Hey, I'm not going to have seconds with dinner every night," and again, it adds up over time. You'll find yourself becoming thinner. Losing that extra weight that you would have gained, or I'm going to even have one less glass of alcohol a week. Again, it'll all add up in the end, and you'll be surprised at how much healthier you'll be, how much longer you'll live. I'm going to save an extra $20 a day or an extra $50 a week. Again, it's amazing how that can add up over time. So same goes for this. So yeah, no, to all of you, absolutely minimize all inefficiencies and wastages with resource consumption, which leads to resource depletion and pollution, and just be more practical. Think how you can better do things to still achieve the same result while being better on the earth, and even ultimately for your own pocket. Like driving less obviously saves you petrol, etc., etc. You can see where it's going, and I think if we all did that, it would make a huge difference to the health of our planet and ultimately the health of ourselves. It'll make a huge difference while still having what we want, right? A job, a home, a family, some fun, being able to travel. So yeah, something to certainly definitely keep in mind moving forward, especially as the environment unfortunately is getting worse and worse. But hey, here's a message for 2023 moving forward as we head into 2024 and going on. Hopefully, just this one little video makes a big difference in the end, because again, more people who see it and do what it says, it all adds up. Cool. Thank you.